All right, I'm going to interrupt here. We have breaking news to get to here on NFL Live. We go right to Adam Schefter with another coach hire. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, Laura, the Atlanta Falcons are planning to hire Raheem Morris, who is the interim head coach in Atlanta. He's the Rams' defensive coordinator, but they are moving forward in that direction. We get another hire from the NFC South with Raheem Morris getting that job in Atlanta. Again, a lot of qualified candidates. They spent today meeting with Bobby Slowick, the Texans offensive coordinator. They had Mike Vrabel in the building yesterday, but today they are moving forward with Raheem Morris as the hire in Atlanta as their head coach. And now, again, I wanted to lay this out for everybody because there are two hires left. Washington, Seattle. Mike Vrabel doesn't appear to be in play there. Bill Belichick doesn't appear to be in play there.
Wow.
Pete Carroll doesn't appear to be in play there. So there are some big names here that are left on the dance floor as of right now with this particular move. And it's a situation where the Falcons are going back to somebody they know well, somebody who's been in the organization. Raheem Morris is now in line to become the next head coach of the Atlanta Falcons.
I got to say, someone who grew up in Atlanta, Falcons fan, I love this. This is great. RC, I think you love it too. Tell us your thoughts on Raheem Morris, expected to be hired as the Falcons head coach.
Listen, I am fired up. Raheem Morris was my last defensive back coach. He's just an awesome man, but an amazing X and O coach, understands how to relate with players. And he's been there before. When Dan Quinn was fired, he had an opportunity to coach there. He was a guy that coached both offense and defense in Atlanta. We watched him move to Los Angeles and with the Rams, win a Super Bowl. Bobby Wagner, who will be on the pivot tomorrow, when asked who he wanted to be Seattle's next head coach, actually mentioned the name Raheem Morris. And so I think this is a slam dunk for the Atlanta Falcons. And many people don't remember this, but as an extremely young coach, Raheem Morris was the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I believe that not going well for him when they tore down the entire team has been something that has been held against him. And to have this opportunity in Atlanta, now it's time to go out and get him a quarterback, and I think he's going to be extremely successful and a perfect fit for the city and the team.
Yeah, absolutely love this hire. We call it Monday Night Football, and the Rams are one of our games this year, and Raheem is one of those guys, when you sit down with him, you go, you're a head coach.
Yes.
Just when you talk with him,
Presence,
the way that his energy, his presence, the way that he communicates, I think the joy that he has about ball. Like when we sat and talked with him, that was a big takeaway. It's like, oh my gosh, this dude loves being in it with his players. And I think that is going to be something that is huge for Atlanta. The second thing I'd say is this. Les Snead, who's the general manager of the Los Angeles Rams, hired Sean McVay. How's that worked out? He was very passionate about the opportunity that he wanted for Raheem Morris to be a head coach. This guy, he doesn't say stuff just to say it, Les Snead. So this is a guy that knows, if I do this, I'm going to risk losing my defensive coordinator. But he is that good of a coach and deserves that much of this opportunity that I'm going to do it. And I think that spoke volumes about Raheem as a man. I also think it spoke volumes about him as a potential and obviously now head coach.
Yeah, well, if you're familiar with football circles like we are, we know how well respected Raheem is. But to that point, man, I can't help but think about what are you going to do offensively at the quarterback position, because the success is directly tied to how that guy plays and what position will they be in order to get a quarterback. I know Justin Fields' name has been thrown around. What will the Atlanta Falcons do front office-wise with Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris coming together along with Arthur Blank and trying to figure out who's going to quarterback this team? Look, for as phenomenal as DeMeco Ryans was in Houston, for as good as Dan Campbell has been in Detroit, those guys, signal callers, played at very high levels this year. So we know that that's a direct correlation to the success that you will have as a head coach. There is no doubt Raheem will be ready for this job, understands what it takes to be a head coach. Now it's time to get to work and figuring out who's going to be your signal call.
Because when me and Raheem talked yesterday, he told me, he was like, yeah, promote other people like Jim Harbaugh for those other jobs so Atlanta could come get me. So I'm just so freaking happy that he got the job.
It worked. Hey, you know what? I'm happy.
That house going to be so nice out there.
Thank you for that.
Oh, my God.
Hey, now listen, I want to put the list back up of the available jobs, because now there's only 2 left in Washington and the Seahawks, as you see down at the bottom of that list. Raheem Morris, the latest head coach hire, as he will now be expected. Excuse me, I should clarify. He is expected, according to Adam Schefter, the breaking news here, to be hired by the Falcons. So, Adam, I want to go back to you because you alluded to this a little bit. There's some big names still out there that don't have a position yet, as we know. What do you expect the Commanders and Seahawks to do?
Well, let me start here for a moment, Laura, if you don't mind. Bill Belichick, who's the biggest name out there, the greatest coach of all time, interviewed twice for the Atlanta Falcons job that now is going to Raheem Morris. Bill Belichick did not get called to Seattle. He did not, as of date, get called to Washington. Could he still enter into those conversations? Conceivably, yes. We're well on into these coaching searches, and to my knowledge, neither team has called so far. So that seemingly would indicate that this coaching cycle, as it currently is constituted, will fill up without Bill Belichick getting a head coach. Raheem Morris gets the Atlanta job. That was the job that Bill Belichick was in play for there down in Atlanta. And my understanding is that the Falcons owner, Arthur Blank, really liked Bill Belichick and would have supported that hiring. But it's beyond just one man. This is a collaborative hiring effort. And there were a lot of people in that building that supported Raheem Morris. He met with the Falcons on Tuesday night at Arthur Blank's house, had a tremendous meeting there. The Rams were fully backing Raheem Morris because they truly believed that his time had come. They went out of their way publicly and privately to point out to everybody that Raheem Morris was long overdue for a head coaching job. And I believe the Rams' words resonated with people across the league. And Raheem Morris deserves what he gets, but he also had the full support of that organization going to bat for him repeatedly, and they all made it possible. What Raheem did and what the Rams said. And together, in the end, he gets this job that really, when you think back to the time that he coached in Tampa, there were people at that time that said Raheem Morris was ready to be a head coach, but that maybe it was just a little bit early. He got the job, it didn't work out, and now he's had to wait all this time to get another head coaching job that many people believe was long overdue.
Yeah, that's really important context, Adam, and thanks for sharing it. When you think about some of the connectivity in the NFL and how some of these teams can help support their own coaches to go somewhere else. Dan, just quickly before we go, your thoughts on Bill Belichick maybe being left out of this coaching hiring cycle?
Yeah, I guess I'm surprised that all these teams that needed a head coach potentially are passing on him. I do know this. If you don't have a good plan with player selection and offensive coordinator, it's tough to get a job in this league right now. So I guess in that regard, there's merit to that.